is all that I can give to you. Love is just a game that's made for two. Two in love can make it. Take my heart and please don't break it. Love was made for B-N-Y-O. You get to see me time. About this, not better. Take my heart and please don't break it. Love was made for B-N-Y-O. You can't see that. Love is all that I can give to you. Love is just a game that's made for two. Two in love can make it. Take my heart and please don't break it. Love was made for me and you. Love was made for me and you. Love was made for me and you. Thank you. You're nobody till somebody loves you. You're nobody till somebody cares. You may be king or queen, you might possess all the riches and it's gold, but riches and gold won't keep you happy when you're growing old. Love is still the same, you'll never change it. As long as there are stars up above, you're nobody till somebody loves you. So why not find somebody to love? Can I take this one? Still the same, you'll never change it, babe. As long as the stars up above, you're nobody till somebody loves you. So why not find somebody to love? Somebody to love. Oh yeah, a little Dean Martin there. Thank you. Tim's, whatever that is. Yeah. Hey all.
So we want to take this opportunity to say, a few words to my dad, and Stacy has a toast.
I was just born with a Tanqueray. I didn't have the words.
Talking to the microphone. Martini to the microphone. Talking to the microphone.
You should know better. We heard you. We'll miss you forever. We all love you. We're all your people. And thank you for the life you lived. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
I want to thank everybody for coming today. I think that my sisters and I and our stepbrothers, Stephen, who couldn't be here with us, all just want to celebrate the joy that my dad lived his life with, and the gusto, big time gusto.
For sure. I don't really have anything planned. Had a lot of thoughts since that trip to Henderson a few weeks ago, mulling around, but you know, life gets busy, and normally I'm more prepared than this.
Life goes on.
Yes.
Thank goodness life has been busy for me.
But I'm really thankful that my dad had so many extra years after his, brush with death when he was in his 40s. And if I learned anything from him, it's to pursue happiness and to love those around you and have fun, And I think those things are all important. And I think he did that.
Yep. Thank you.
So we invite anybody else to share some words.
My dad was a very stoic and very tough man. And no matter what went on, he went on. And that's part of why I lived my life the way I do. He had a zest for life, and he loved to party. And he was a very, very social individual. I spent a lot of time with my dad when I was in elementary school. When he had his store down Moore Hill, he was always there. And I hung out in the store all the time. And I used to love riding my bike down there because I could hang out with my dad. And he used to always have all these weird old 30s and 40s cars that were junk, and they were parked out beside the store, and the purple people eater and the Chevy truck. And I used to ride down that hill in my Stingray, and I would spend hours in those cars just pretending to drive. And to this day, I have a love for old cars, and I have a love for going fast, and I know where that came from. And, when I bought my truck when I was 18, my dad was in heaven going over that flathead and telling me all the stories about what he used to do and go out to the drag strips and shit. And
you went through a transmission a week.
Yeah, I went through a couple transmissions in that old Ford too until I had to fucking beat it up. But there is a lot of my dad inside of me. There's a lot of my mom inside of me too.
They're both there.
And
no denying that.
Yeah.
Through all the trials and tribulations, I've always loved my dad. I'm stubborn. I could headbutt you like he could if you put me into a corner. And the past month it's been up and down because of his going. And I just have to say I truly love my dad.
That's nice, Chris. Does anybody have a really silly little poem or something?
To light it up?
I read this the other day, and it said, every man dies, but not every man lives.
That's a good one. I like that one. I've heard that before.
I think I've met most of you. I'm Pamela, I'm Dan's wife, Joan and Bill's daughter-in-law. And it was my great pleasure to have known your dad and your brother. And, I think that building a legacy is something we all hear about in life, but I see that in front of me now. This family that loved him so, and with every good reason. You know, leaving behind a legacy, there's people. Joan, as you know, his wife, is doing well. Some of you probably want an update. She was grief-stricken, as you can only imagine, to an extreme, dramatic Joni way. Okay. She's a lovely, lovely lady that loved your dad, your brother, Bill, more than life itself. So she is doing well. She's carrying on there in Henderson. She's keeping the home beautifully. She's getting a lot of exercise because she never had to do any of that work before.
It always looks like the day they bought it.
It still does. It still does. You know, Bill, you all, I'm sure, know, it was his pride. He is a man's man. He took care of everything in the house because he wanted to. And she just had to let him. And why wouldn't you? I mean, because it made him so happy. He cooked, he shopped, he did all those things. She's doing all those things for herself now, and wants you to know that she loves you all, and she's carrying on, doing better. She did ask that I read a letter that she wrote, and this letter was dated 7 days after his death, so it's a little bit rambly and a little bit sad, so I apologize, you know, for that, but if that's okay, I'll read it. Okay. Dated August 21/12. To all of the ones he loved so much, I want to say thank you. Your love for him is so apparent to me. I know he feels your presence this moment. Please pause and feel his spirit for each of you in your personal way. I have never experienced such emptiness, sadness, and loneliness in my life. Some of these will ease, some never will. I know life goes on for all of us. However, for me, this journey is going to be so lonely. I was his dolly. That's why. That's why I know so little of what I should have known. He took care of me. I'm now old, empty and sad, with only half my heart left. Each day I will seek to feel this spirit surround me as I recall all the human loving touches for him. Until we meet again, my love, my heart beats, but not in any way it ever did when I looked at you. We were still beautiful to each other, looking through the eyes of love. I love you, darling Joni. You truly were the greatest love of my life, my love. And then she made a little sign of tears. Oh, there's a poem. Time is too slow for those who wait, too swift for those who fear, too long for those who grieve, too short for those who rejoice, but for those who loved, time is eternity.
Very nice. Beautiful.
So, if anyone else would like to say any words, I'll be happy to.
Please, I know it's tough,
maybe,
but we want to hear words.
My name is Jean, and I am Barbara's stepdaughter and Uncle Bill's niece. And even though I didn't see him that much in the later years, I will never forget when Barbara married my dad. And I was young. I was 15. I was not nice. But, Bill, poor Barbara. Oh, Barbara do so much. But Bill, I remember having dinner, and I smoked. I was 16, I smoked, and I got up and went for a walk, and Bill caught up with me and went and had a cigarette with me. He smoked back then, right? Yeah. To make me feel comfortable and make me feel welcome, and I'll never forget that. Every event after that, he knew I liked schnapps, and he would bring me a half pint of schnapps. Probably after I was 18. But just a really loving man, and just made me feel welcome. Like, it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. I'll never forget that about Bill. What a lovely man he was, and what a lovely family he has. I'm very fortunate to be here with all of you. Thank you.
Me too, really? Because Greg's too shy.
Well, I mostly worked with Bill quite a few years ago at Paramount, and some people found him a little bit gruff, but we always really liked him. And I think our favorite expression from him, and he needed to say it, was, "Clean this shithole up." I don't quite remember that one as much, but I remember he would say that. And also, you know, when me and Stacy would do the trade shows, the magic trade shows in Vegas, you know, he was always very welcoming, and I remember the sandwiches he made us, and showing us the old Las Vegas, you know, the old strip, not just the new stuff, and it was, you know, really fun hanging out with him. So yeah, he was a great guy, and we all miss him a lot.
Ditto.
Anybody else would like to say anything?
Pam?
I guess I can say something.
There you go.
I'm not sure that I remember exactly when this happened. Kim will probably remember when it happened, but it was either the first or second time that I went to visit Bill in Henderson. And he had me paint. He had to replace some tiles on top of his roof. And they weren't white like the other tiles, so he had me paint them white in the Las Vegas summer heat.
It was 115 degrees outside.
It probably wasn't quite that bad, but it was definitely over 100.
On the roof, it would be over 100.
Yeah. And of course, you know, with all the white tiles radiating the sunlight back at me while I painted. Yeah. So that was... Yeah, but I mean, I knew Bill, and
then there was a time he was up on the roof. He shouldn't even have been on the roof.
That doesn't even surprise me a little bit.
And the ladder fell down.
Oh shit!
And he was
stuck on the roof.
I remember him stuck, and luckily someone came by and he
I think I was the one that after that went and he held the ladder as I climbed up the ladder and fixed some of the tiles up there.
Tell Alan to bring his shoes.
It was up there. It's not like it's just a little roof. It's your 20 feet in the air, and it's
a tall house and a big house, so the roof was...
Yeah. And the ladder always wiggled because there's no place to really sit on those tiles. You know, it wasn't scary.
But Bill certainly loved to entertain and to make food, so the thing that, of course, I'm sure many of you remember were his turkey bacon and his hash browns with lots of lemon pepper, and his special chicken that he liked to grill.
As cheap as possible.
And you know, Terry and I would probably alternate between providing tech support for him as well.
Yep.
Oh yes, you're going right hand.
Run into Fry's and buying a RAM for his computer. Yeah.
He did really well on that.
But he did very well on his own as well, so he was good. So that was my experience.
That was his entertainment to me.
Yes.
Probably.
And of course, watching him dance with my wife at our wedding.
Oh. He loved to dance.
Yes, he did.
Yeah, my dad called Ron Ron-knee. I need my Ron-knee time. Tell him to come up here and drink this beer. I just want to tell a story. It's one of those silly little stories, but for some reason my dad always liked to remind me of this every time I would visit him, because he always called me his little Lily. And he's like, he would tell me, do you remember that time we went fishing and you sat there all day long and you didn't catch a damn fish, but you still sat there all day long? And I do remember that day. I don't remember where we were. I remember there was a bridge. And I remember being kind of teased about sitting there all day long and not ever catching a fish. But the thing I remember is that I wanted to be with my dad. You know, I was enjoying sitting there being with my dad. And he was just, you know, he was a comfortable person to be around. He had a comfortable, warm aura. And I didn't care I didn't catch a fish. I just wanted to be with my dad.
As the oldest, I got to grow up and be with my dad a lot because I would go to work with him. And a lot of my business skills, all of my business skills, come from working with my dad for all those years. And when we were in Las Vegas for the memorial, Warren Wood was with us also. He couldn't be here today because he's out of the country. But, you know, back in the De La Cruz day, Warren was part of that whole configuration when I worked at De La Cruz Paper, and I got to type. He learned to type so I could type numbers for the girls there because none of them could type numbers on the typewriter. That was before, you know, correction tape and all that stuff. You had to type it right the first time or else you had to start over. But, you know, working with my dad was always a really important thing to me. And when I worked in semiconductor industry, and you couldn't bring your kids or family in with you because of insurance reasons. So when I started my business, a big reason why I started my business was so I thought at that time I'd have kids. But what actually ended up happening is that I got to work with a lot of my family. And Kirsten worked for me, Kim worked for me, Chris worked for me, Mike's sister-in-law worked for me, and other kids. So all of that was, you know, in a lot of legacy of when I worked for my dad and my mom in the store in Morgan Hill. So I often say I have merchant roots all of that time.
Actually, I don't know what I'm going to say, except that I love my brother very much. He was always a wonderful brother. I especially remember when I was a little girl, probably 3 or 4. He was in the Navy. He'd come home on leave, and he'd immediately run over and grab me in my rocking chair and put me up over his head. It's just a very special memory for me. He was a very warm, kind, big-hearted, loving person.
That started when he was a little boy. Never mind. He was always very kind. Think of me even then when he was a little kid. Someone would give me a cookie and he'd say, "Can I have one for my sister?" He was just always that kind of way. He was sensitive like my dad.
Yep.
Which we all are.
Yep.
Yep. Runs in the family.
Yeah.
Damn genetics.
Those genes.
Damned and blessed.
Right. Anyway, this has been very nice.
Yes, it has. It feels good.
So I want to thank Stacy too for thinking of having this wonderful duet here with us, because they're playing the kind of music that we grew up listening to with my dad, and that he liked to dance to. And he could cut a rug.
Speaking of which, I think there should be some dancing going on.
That was one of the things that was the hardest thing about.
Why don't you all show us how to dance to this stuff? Because we might not know.
The hardest thing about, you know, the congestive heart failure was he couldn't dance.
Yeah, he had a special.
How did it go now?
Some little dippy thing he used to do. While he was dancing with you.
Richard, do you remember how to do it?
I don't remember that one at all.
He was a good dancer, though.
Is it the mambo shake, the one with the hip like that?
A little footwork.
Oh, okay.
You guys did the zero really good together.
Yeah.
My hair could be like that.
He just loved to, and my father did too. My
Yes.
father, 1 week
Both of
before
our
my
parents.
dad died, he was at a wedding dancing every dance.
Yes, he
with me.
was. The week before he
I know
died.
his legs didn't work very good anymore, and that was 1 week before he died. My dad. Yep. And Billy was a lot like.
And my dad had steel-toed boots because he worked for the railroad, and he always had me stand on his boots, and he danced around the room with me. When I was a little girl.
Because you couldn't stand on Dad's feet because he had the bad toes.
Oh, I know it. That was terrible.
When we were kids, we used to jump on his feet, and he'd go, ah!
Poor guy.
That's genetic too.
I don't have that either.
I got that from him.
Oh, great.
Well, I
my
didn't
daughter.
get it, but in my
Flyer toe.
same jeans somewhere. But that's what keeps foot doctors going.
Pedicure.
Yeah.
Pedicure is awful.
Any of the youngsters have anything to say? Casey, you got a funny story. I know you do.
I don't really have a funny story. I know. Well, the last time I talked to Grandpa was when I was going on like 2 hours of sleep, and I was pissed drunk at like 6 in the morning in Vegas a few weeks ago at a bachelor party, and I called Grandpa and Joni to see if they could pick me and my friends up because it was like 6 or 7 hours before we had to get on a flight, so we wanted to like try to go hang out with my grandpa in the meantime. And yeah, or it might have been like 7 or 8 or something. But yeah, I remember like calling them, and Grandpa was just like, "There's no way I can go down to the Strip. People can't go down to the Strip. I can't drive down there." But I got to talk to him and Joni for a few minutes and tell them I both loved him, and that's the last thing. The last thing I got to say to Grandpa, which I like the fact that the last thing I said to him was that I love him, and I was partying and having a good time doing it, which I'm sure Grandpa would have loved to have been right there with me if he could have been. But yeah, that's my last memory of Grandpa, and I'll definitely like hold on to that. But yeah, I remember like my interactions with him more than like I don't have any like specific stories of like a fishing trip or anything. But yeah, I just remember always having like really good banter with him.
Saying something about asshole or something.
No, he never said that.
It's funny. I never heard my dad say a cuss word ever until I was 18.
Yeah, he really didn't. No, he didn't.
And then it was, "You fuckhead."
You deserve that at 18. Probably. All right,
Rachel, you want to talk about your last visit over there?
I just swear at your mother.
My father would allow no swearing.
At her? Or just in conversation?
Death on swearing.
Go ahead, Rachel.
Yeah. Jump in there, Rachel.
Rachel.
I'm really happy that we made the trip up to see him. He got to meet his great-grandson, and it was perfect timing that we went up when we did. So I'm really, really happy that we made that trip, because it was a lot of fun.
Did you get some pictures?
Yeah, that picture actually was taken.
This picture was actually taken.
That has Rachel right
here.
here.
Yeah, we're in
his
the
Niners jacket.
Yeah,
his Niners jacket.
Because so we went out. We he really loves to cook and stuff, so he cooked for us a couple times. But we were like, well, let's take you out to dinner, and they were talking about their favorite restaurant that they only get to go to once a year, and they love it, and so we're like, well, let's take you out to that restaurant. And so Grandpa doesn't fit into any of his clothes, and so Joni's like, oh, it took him a half an hour to get on his boots, and his legs are all swollen, and so he finally got on his clothes. So we ended up wearing the Niners jacket and like jeans and his boots. And the dinner went really good. We went to, they saw their favorite waiter, and
Joni liked to flirt with the waiters.
Yeah. Joni, it was really nice. I actually got a little video of it, but it's really dark in the restaurant, so. But yeah, I'm very, very happy that we made that trip out there to see him, and he got to see his great-grandson. That's great.
What's wrong?
Everybody's looking at you, Pete. He'll always look out for people. I remember when I was about 16, I was right around the corner from Wagman Drive, and my girlfriend at the time, her brother was beating the shit out of me. He was mad at me. And Bill looked out, saw this going on. He ran over and charged and attacked the guy, older brother. Pulled him off of me. Thank you. Thank you. And sent him on his way. But he did. He took care of us all. This is my friend Buck, and Bill he liked Buck a lot. He knew we rode together, and
He'd
we go
always
by.
ask about that.
Every time we went to Las Vegas, he'd say, "So how's Buck and Bo?" And this is Buck's son, Rio.
I think I remember that.
Yeah.
Well, Casey's story reminds me of Michael O'Connell's daughter was going to, his oldest daughter was going to Las Vegas for the first time. Must have been 20. And her mother called me and said, could I have Bill's phone number in case, something goes wrong. And I gave her my brother's phone number, then I called him and said, if anything goes wrong, which I'm sure it's not going to, that she's going to call you. And she probably told her the same thing he told me. I'm not going down to the strip at this time of night.
I was just going to say that one of my most recent memories of Grandpa's, I don't remember what trip it was, but I was out in Vegas, and Joni would stay upstairs in the morning time and let us have our breakfast quiet time together. And so I just remember sitting at the dining room table with him, and he was bringing out pictures, and just in his quiet, few words kind of way, just talking about things he'd learned, reflecting on his past a bit, and talking to me about that. And so I just remember the spirit of my grandpa that I got to see in that moment, retired in Vegas, reflecting back on his life. And I've talked to my mom about this a lot, just, I don't actually know how to phrase this, but that's what I'm going to carry with me, just the way he sincerely tried, the sincerity with which he lived his life, the passion that he lived it with, I think what he instilled upon all of us, and the really special family that I've always known that we have, but just acknowledging and respecting what part he played in that, and the respect I think that he had for the lessons that he learned, the mistakes he made, but the good things that he obviously did, because I think that that's what keeps us all together and why we honestly love each other as much as we do, in spite of all the quirky things families do and whatnot. So anyway, that's kind of the image that I have in my mind. I hear lots of stories about his younger years and this, that, and the other thing, but that's really what I hold in my heart, is just that, that reflective grandpa. So
make your mistakes, learn your lessons, but be a good-hearted.
Yeah, just the care, just that moment, the care that he had for me as his granddaughter. He got a little mushy sometimes, obviously, but...
That was the Hungarian. That was the Hungarian.
But,
you can always count on that.
Yeah. So.
I got, I guess a story. I saw Grandpa just a couple weeks after Rachel saw him just me and Jessica went to Vegas and had a little vacation. We stayed with them one night. And I remember when I always loved his old stories from when he was in the Navy. And I was talking to him last time, and he told me this story, and he got all red in the face because it's kind of a little bit of an embarrassing story. But I guess when he was a nurse in the Navy, thank God he didn't see a lot of action because that tends to ruin people. But I guess what he dealt with a lot was venereal diseases with soldiers.
Oh, wow.
And he told me a story about how they were in this
story.
Me either.
He told me a story about how they were in Japan. They were in this totally sealed off base, and all of the soldiers were getting venereal diseases, and they couldn't figure out because there was no contact with the locals. Turned out they were having sex with prostitutes through the fence.
Oh, that's a good one.
And Grandpa told me this story years ago when we went visiting with my mom, and when
and you're like, how did that happen?
Yeah.
When you're desperate.
What I thought was so funny was that just like, this gruff man who always assumed, could take anything you threw at him, went completely red in the face when I told him he told me this story years ago.
I never saw him get red in the face.
I thought that was
That's a good one. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a grandpa story.
You got any stories about Bill, Linda, since you just arrived?
I was just gonna say something.
Think about it for a second. Nothing like putting you on the spot, but I know you don't mind.
I always have thought of my grandfather as a great man, and I use great with a capital G because he always just made such an impression on everyone. I remember when I was little, like, he was just so big, and his voice was so big, and he was always so warm and loving, and it was like he just expanded, like, throughout the room or wherever he was. And he was a very, strong person, and like many strong people, he rubbed some people the wrong way, and, but I really admire that. I think in my life, like, what I learned from my grandfather is, that strength, like, it may not make you loved in some situations, but, it'll get you through life. And I also really appreciated his humility, that, he learned a lot of hard lessons in his life, and he really tried to make amends, and, like, I felt like he always tried to do the right thing by people, instead of just being like, well, whatever, that's their problem if they have a problem with me. Like, he always really tried to be a compassionate person, and when he realized he made a mistake, I feel like he did his best to make up for it and be a good person and keep, the love going. So that's really how I feel, and definitely the entrepreneurial spirit for sure. Like, I feel like that, that bravery and, just that, ability to step out into the world and just be who you are. Like, I really think he was an expression of that, and I also love to dance, so I got that from him too. But yeah, like, definitely a great man has passed recently, but as with all great men, I think that his influence continues well after his life and into the generations. So.
Because of all of you.
Yes. I see his likeness in so many of them. It's really wonderful.
It's a strong gene.
Yeah.
It must be the Albanian. I think of Uncle Bob, same thing. He filled up the room too.
Yeah, I remember Bill really well, and people, like, he always rubbed me the right way. I remember him being really big and smiling a lot, always being really friendly, very warm, just, a good guy. That's how I remember him. He was always very nice and sweet to me. I just remember him, like, at Paramount a lot. I think that's usually where I saw him, at Paramount, in the office. But yeah, I like Bill a lot, and I remember he got along well with my dad, but I hear people talk about he rubbed people the wrong way, and I guess I was lucky enough to never see that side.
We all do.
He worked with his daughter, and he didn't want her to be taken advantage of.
That was probably it.
As far as what? Him and your dad butt heads. I was a referee. but one thing about, like, that type of thing in my life and Dad's life and my mom's life and in our lives is, okay, butt heads, and then look at why the heads are being butt, and then shift the idea, and everything always worked out. Me and my dad butt heads. Probably the most of any of the kids, growing up, right? Do I hear any, but yeah, and that's. In fact, I'm pretty proud of how my dad taught me to be completely stubborn. Don't listen to anybody. He was the last person I'd listen to because he's who taught me not to listen to anybody. He taught me really well.
I remember what you promised at the funeral home.
Be able to say no.
You'll do everything the way he said.
I'm going to add up all my columns twice. I'm going to write everything down. I'm going to look at everything.
To fix all the things in your house.
Oh yeah. Myself.
Things in your house.
And I have been working on that. And the first lady he married was a lot like him in a lot of those ways. And, yes, it's an honor to be from the lineage of which I'm from. Both my dad and my mom.
Check 1, 2. Are we ready to rock and roll?
All right. This is for Bill because he liked to dance a lot. So we want some dancers to come out here and do something. Shake that.
If you want to sing a song, it won't take long. We're gonna do the twist, baby. Oh, let's twist again. summer. Let's twist again, like we did last year. Do you remember when we can really come? Let's twist again, like we did last year. Well, round and round and round and round we go, yeah. Round and round and round and round we go. Let's twist again, like we did last summer. Yeah, let's twist again, like we did last year. Come on, everybody, come on in. Everybody wanna do the swim. Kinda like the monkeys, kinda like the twist. Put your arms together and you do it like this, baby. Do what you wanna, do what you wish. Put your arms together and swim like a fish, baby. Kinda like the monkeys, kinda like the twist. You put your arms together and you do it like this, baby. Do the swim. Do you wanna dance and hold my hand? Call me a lover, man, oh baby. Do you wanna dance? Do you wanna dance and hold me tight? Kiss and love me all through the night, oh baby. Do you wanna dance? Do you wanna dance? Wanna dance? Oh baby, do you wanna dance? One, two. You wanna dance and hold my hand? Call me your love, oh baby. Do you wanna dance? Do you wanna dance and hold me tight? Get your body up through the night, oh baby. Do you wanna dance? All right, I'm gonna do something here called the peppermint twist. Can you do this one? Well, we got an old dance and they go like this. Bop shoo bop bop, bop shoo bop. Baby, this dance is a peppermint twist. Bop shoo bop bop, bop shoo bop. You like it like this? The peppermint twist. Bop shoo bop, bop bop shoo bop. Round and round, up and down, round and round, up and down. Round and round, up and down. 1, 2, 3, kick. 1, 2, 3, kick. Listen, sax over there. give me some over here.